Hello world, what is up? Jem here, and today I am going to talk to you about how you can bring espresso, that's right, cappuccinos and lattes, right to your home at a price that you can afford. Imagine walking into like a Starbucks or maybe even a local coffee shop and ordering a latte. The barista starts to get the espresso in there, they add some cream, maybe make some art into the espresso cup for you. And for a moment you take your first sip and you get to just relax and enjoy what you have right then. It almost takes you out of the world for a moment. And that is what I want to share with you having at home. Now, if you enjoy food and beverage videos and want to see some travels, consider subscribing to this channel, and I'll show you so much more and we'll have a great time along the way. Well, today I want to share with you what I found. A couple weeks ago, I found an espresso machine and decided to buy it. Espresso machines are oftentimes $300, $700 or more, and I just cannot justify buying a machine for that much. But on Prime Day, I found one that was on sale but is regularly only $50 or $60, and that's the SoTech, it says coffee maker, but this is an espresso maker all the way through. It even has the side nozzle where you can make frothed milk for yourself, and it comes in at $50. So it's totally affordable. I've been making espresso almost every day for the past 2 weeks now, kind of playing around with this machine. I really liked it, and I wanted to share it with you. One note, this is not a sponsored video. So I'm not sponsored by SoTech. They didn't ask me to make this. I just really enjoyed this and wanted to share it with you as well. Now, the basis of a good cappuccino is this. You make a very thick coffee. It's essentially super fine ground coffee pressed together, water goes through it, you make a super dark coffee, and then you add in some frothed milk to that. And for a latte, you just add in more of that cream and milk. And that ends up being the drink that we know and love. Now with the SoTech machine, it has a smaller footprint than some of the huge machines, which is great for our limited counter space. And we can make up to 4 shots of espresso at a time. So what I usually do is I'll take the coffees that we like. So we used the Veranda Starbucks Blonde Blend, as well as a local coffee. It's a salted caramel coffee. And we blend those two together to make our fine espresso powder. Put those into the about 4 fill line, and then you press it down into there with a provided tool with the machine, and you put that into the espresso machine. Then you'll fill your carafe, whatever that glass thing is. You fill that with water. I like to fill it above the 4 shot line, and I'll put that into the espresso machine itself, seal up the top really good, and then what you'll do is move the machine to the on or the brew button on the side. So there's a dial on the side of the machine that goes between steam, off, pause, and brew. And so the brewing, it'll take about 2 minutes for the machine to kind of get warmed up, get the water in the back heated, and then to press that through. In the meantime, while it's making those espresso shots, it is building up pressure in the tank behind it. Now, while this is going, it'll take a few minutes for it to kind of build up that, and then also a few more minutes for it to fill the carafe all the way. Go ahead and take a large container. I use a large measuring cup, about 4 cups worth, and then fill it with the milk or creamer that you plan on using. I like to use a 2% or a whole milk to about maybe 8-10 ounces of it, and then another 2 or 3 ounces of a caramel latte creamer, or you can use a salted caramel creamer for caramel. You could try other flavors as well, like chocolate, but we like caramel a lot, so we end up using that one. I end up heating that up in the microwave for about 30 seconds. Don't overheat it. You don't want warm or hot milk going into this, because that frothing arm is going to add a lot of heat to it as it's frothing the milk. But I do find with this machine, it's not quite as powerful as some of the bigger ones. So if I heat the milk up a little bit ahead of time, kind of gets it going a little bit there so that it is really hot when I'm ready to pour it into my espresso. Now, once your espresso is all the way down into that carafe, go ahead and let it continue to go a little bit, and then move the dial to the pause position while you get your milk in place on the left of the machine for frothing. And then when you're ready to actually start frothing, I'd suggest doing this fairly quickly. The machine doesn't hold the pressure amazingly, but go ahead and put the milk in there. You want to insert the tip a few millimeters, maybe a quarter of an inch below the surface of the milk, and then turn the dial all the way over to the froth position. What this will do is shoot out hot steam into the milk. Now if you move this milk up and down a little bit, just a tiny bit of motion as you go about frothing it, it'll go ahead and create bubbles at the top of the milk, and those bubbles are it frothing up the creamer for you. Continue to do this until you've filled your container or you're out of pressure. You should get a fair amount of froth from it if you've done it right. If you haven't, you'll probably end with like another half cup of froth, but you can fill it up pretty well if your pressure's built up well. And then when you're ready to make your espresso, go ahead and take your favorite mug. Usually you want a little bit of a smaller one, but since we make more lattes, we add more milk, we use a bigger cup, and we'll add in maybe... There's a fire truck. Now usually when people make espressos, they'll take a small cup for it and then add a tiny bit of this milk. I do like more of like teas and less coffee, so mine end up being more lattes or almost steamers actually. Now the one I'm making here is a latte with a couple shots of espresso, so we pour the espresso in, then we'll go ahead and add in our cream and then some froth. And then you can top it with a little cocoa powder or cinnamon, as I've used here, just pretty much just so it looks pretty, because as many of you know, presentation is half of the flavor. If you get good presentation on something, it already tastes better before you've taken your first bite or your first sip in this case. And now with this made, you are ready to enjoy a lovely latte in the morning without that much effort. You can do this on the side as the same way that you'd be making coffee. There's just one additional step of frothing that milk, and it is so enjoyable. And at the end of all this, you can also make steamers or stronger drinks like the cappuccino. A steamer is just that frothed milk. So when I make these, I make a latte for my wife. I make myself something like a latte with a little bit more creamer, less espresso, and then I'll use the rest of the milk to make a steamer for my son, which is just milk with froth, and it's already sweetened by that creamer, so it's just a delicious sweet milk drink. Now I want to warn you, one thing to keep in mind as you're making these, it does get very hot and that pressure builds up in a dangerous way. So make sure that every action you take, you do so carefully and responsibly. Like opening the top, make sure that the pressure's been released and that there's no hot water or hot steam in the tank of the machine before you open that. And that is common to all espresso machines. And you do not want to get a hot steam burn on you just from making espresso in the morning. That would ruin the whole experience. Another thing to keep in mind is that cleaning is important with this. Clean it quickly and you'll have a way better time with this. Really, I never put these things in the dishwasher or need to do much scrubbing because I rinse them off almost immediately. But the steam arm on the left side of the machine, you will want to clean that as quickly as you can. Any froth that gets on there from the milk will quickly, because of the heat, kind of harden onto it and become very difficult to clean if you wait too long. So just take a paper towel or a rag, get some water on there and just kind of circle around on it and it'll take it right off and you'll save yourself a lot of trouble. Now if you've enjoyed making some cappuccinos or lattes, please let me know what kind of flavors you've tried. I've pretty much only done caramel, chocolate, and I guess you'd call it plain. But yeah, let me know what you've tried. I'd love to try some different things and different flavors, throw them in there. So I'm going to be trying that in the next few weeks as we have this machine. I'm going on vacation next week and we're going to be enjoying these frequently, probably with some Irish coffee or Kahlua. Well, thanks for joining me today. I think you'd enjoy this beverage video of mine up here. And there's also another video of mine down here I think you'll like as well. So please, if you enjoyed this and you want to see more, subscribe and hit the bell below. And it was great to see you today. I hope you enjoy making yourself a cappuccino or latte. Bye!